Hi, everyone. Thanks so much for joining us here on the Daily Racing Forum YouTube. I'm Gino Buccola alongside Ashley Mailloux with producer Lucia helping us out as we head on over to Del Mar for Saturday. It's the Grade 2 San Clemente. Ashley, I'm not sure if you had a chance to look at the fields for Friday and Saturday. There are massive fields all throughout the card on both Friday and Saturday. So make sure to take a look at the races at Del Mar on opening weekend. Should be fine weather too, which we haven't had over at Saratoga. So hopefully we'll get those big fields. What'd you think when you took a look at the field for the San Clemente here?
Thought it's going to be an interesting race to at least see how it's wagered on too. Obviously, there's quality in here, right? You'd expect that with this being a grade 2, but I think it's when you look at some of the names in here, I kind of get a good feel for how it's going to be bet. I think a couple of horses are going to take money, and it'll be very curious to see with Jonathan Thomas entering 2 here how they will be played.
Yeah, it feels like Thought Process had such a good year at 2, but isn't necessarily head and shoulders like above this field. And Thought Process wants to be forwardly placed. There are a couple others in here who also have that speed. So there are definitely versions of this race where they're going quick early on. Let's see what our friends at Timeform US think as far as the pace projector is concerned. I mean, this doesn't surprise me. Silent Law has been really quick on the dirt, Ashley. He'll try turf for the first time. You have Thought Process, who has been quick. Jungle Piece wants to be forward really quick as well. At least those three, I think, might be jockeying for some position early on.
I agree. I would actually put Jungle Piece a little bit closer than maybe this suggests in here based on the
I think
turf
so
one
too.
that we saw. I know last time out, it doesn't look as quick, right? But it was a mile and an eighth. I think now the cut back to a mile, she's going to be more forward. You bring up a great point, though. The 9 and the 5, they've also been forward in their trips. And Silent Law draws the outside in here. I wonder what the tactics are going to be. Obviously, has shown speed. I don't think that's going to change. But, have to see how the filly stands up on the turf.
Yeah, and as take a look and meet the field for this one. I think I said he with Silent Law. These are obviously 3-year-old fillies. She's as we get ready for the San Clemente here. And we'll start things out with the horse that you and I like a little bit. This filly has shown a lot of ability. She won 3 races in a row, and then she faced pretty tough company over on the in the Edgewood when she shipped over to Churchill. Ashley, I mean, I'm not going to even really knock her for who beat her in that race. She finished 5th, but she was behind 4 pretty nice horses in there. And I think she just got hooked wide most of that race, and she didn't really have her punch late in the race.
Yeah, I would agree with your assessment of the Edgewood. I'm going to draw a line through the performance. It was fine. It's really her races before that. She was able to take her show to Woodbine, to Del Mar, to Santa Anita, was able to perform. And she's tactical. When they go really fast, she can sit from off of it and make one run. We saw that 3 back. And then more recently, when you look at her most recent win in the China Doll, they weren't going fast, right? So I think with her having the inside in here, she has a little bit of an advantage having that versatility where I think Mike Smith, going to climb a border for the first time, can just pilot her from wherever she breaks and whatever everyone else is doing in the field. So I think she's one, in my opinion, she's a must use in here.
Yes, we're seeing this race play out the same way in our heads because I think she's going to be able to sit the same trip, save the ground. She won't be as wide inside, and then they'll just be able to kind of wait, and make that run top of the lane whenever they feel is best suited. Let's move to Castaloo, who is a multiple stakes winner, multiple graded stakes place. Actually, she was getting really good earlier in the year, but then she's been off since February. So that's kind of my concern. Like, she was at her best earlier this year, but now she's actually going to have to step up. She's going to have to face tougher, and she's going to have to do it off of a 5+ month layoff.
Yeah, I think those are all valid concerns. I also think there's concerns with her last two. Her last two, yes, they've been wins. Good for her. But they've also been against a little bit of a different level, in my opinion. I don't want to read into the downhill that much. I thought her running style really fit beautifully over the downhill. And then 2 back in the Blue Norther, you look at the way she was able to do it. I like that she was able to sit the trip. I will give her credit there that I felt like she was a little bit unrushed early and was able to get into a rhythm. But the horses that finished behind her, one of them that I like is Super Speed, who was the 3rd place finisher. Everyone else in there, we're not seeing those horses in here in general, right? So I think these are deeper waters for her, and that's going to be a little bit of a challenge, I think.
Yeah, I mean, you just look at some of her running lines. Will Then beat her, Silent Law beat her, Thought Process beat her a couple times last year. She's going to have to turn the tables on all of those fillies who have proven to already be maybe a little farther along than she was last year. Me So Fancy is a nice Calbred. She's grade 3 place. She just missed in the Honeymoon. She was one of 4 horses that were in that grade 3 Honeymoon that I believe we have a replay of. But I mean, this is a really honest Calbred, Ashley. She's never been out of the exacta, but I think it shows you in this Honeymoon, 4 of these horses weren't separated by all that much. So I don't know necessarily how strong the race is. I think all of these horses are pretty evenly matched and competitive. And if the race were to run slightly different, or the shape of the race was slightly different, I could see different finish positions from these runners. I actually did think that the horse on the outside was pretty impressive. Firenze Flavor having to come from way wide all the way around. But I mean, you could watch that race and probably make different cases for all 4 of those horses.
Yeah, it's tough to assess how they're, now going to take a step forward with that race being back in mid-May. I think the thing with Me So Fancy, if you're just looking at her race, in terms of the fractions, I think she's a little further back than she probably prefers. Yes, she's been able to kind of close from off of it, but look at the splits. They've been different, right? They've been typically a tad quicker. And then in the times that she's been forward, it's because they've walked the dog on the front end. We're talking about 50-1 3 starts ago to the half. That's why she was forward, and she still came up a little bit short. But, I can't knock her. You mentioned she's a very good Calbred. I think she stepped up to the test last time out. But I wonder if the cutback against this level at a mile is going to hurt her a little bit.
Another one in here who's really tough to knock the overall form is As Catch Can. She was only beaten 3/4 of a length in that race we just watched. She was one of the 4 that come out of the Honeymoon. She's one of 2 horses for Jonathan Thomas in here. And she's grade 3 place, multiple stakes placed. She just doesn't have a whole lot of poor performances. Just kind of feels like the filly who might need things to go perfectly for her to get a win in this type of race because of her running style, but she's not overmatched by this group on class.
No, I mean, she shows up every time. She's the case of 6.5 to a mile and an eighth. I mean, she's been there, right? I prefer her synthetic races a little bit. I know necessarily the numbers aren't better when you go 4 and 5 starts ago, but the way she performed, in my opinion, she's been a lot closer when it's kind of, been towards the wire. She's only been defeated by neck. She won by a length while getting some class relief. And then her performance in the Bourbonnais Oaks, another, different surface, right? And I thought she was a game second behind Bless the Broken. So her turf form leaves something to be desired. And I think when you look at her record, you mentioned she needs things to go her way. I just feel like she doesn't get it done, right? Whether it's been the trip or just being just a notch below the rest.
Thought Process is a grade 3 winner who got a really nice comeback win in her most recent start. So when we look at last year, Ashley, she was solid. She ran some really good races at Del Mar. Then the Breeders' Cup, she found a little too tough. So she's off for 7 months. She shows back up on June the 14th. And right here, this is probably exactly what they were hoping for in a comeback race, where she probably maybe worked a little bit harder on the front end. She was fast, but she won easily. She wasn't really having to work hard or get pushed late in this race. So that should set her up really nicely for coming back about a month later in this race right here. I'm a little worried with horses like Jungle Peace and Silent Law, even Amarita. They could all push her up front, but she can sit a little bit. She certainly has class. I feel like she's the horse to beat in here.
She is. She's the horse to beat. And I think when you look at her return to the races, you mentioned she went fast in comparison to her other mile event at Santa Anita. I know it's different days, right? Different times of the year. 2 seconds off the half, and then look at the final time, almost a second off it overall. And she just looked like she was very comfortable doing it. So obviously didn't face the same level of competition that she faced in her other mile event at Santa Anita, but she has early foot. She does not need the lead to win. We saw that at Del Mar back in September of 2024. So she's handy enough. She's going to be close to it. Whether she's on the lead or not, I don't think it matters, Gino. I think just being close enough to it and getting a clean trip might put her in the winner's circle.
I'm curious the tactics they'll choose with Amarita, because she came from off the pace last time out, Ashley, and that worked out really well for her. Now, that was down the hill. This is a little bit different with the trip. They are here going long on the turf, but she also has big speed that she showed in the China Doll 2 starts back, and when she won going a mile 3 starts back in February. So I'm kind of curious. She's in good hands with Juan Hernandez, who's been one of the perennial leading riders out here in Southern California. But I wouldn't be shocked to see them maybe try to take back a little bit, because that works so well for her, and because she might be in the middle of 2 other speeds with Thought Process and then Jungle Peace right to her outside.
Yeah, I think when you look at the Senorita, I think she still wanted to go. I don't know if she was necessarily quick enough. And I think Juan Hernandez made a little bit of a conscientious move to kind of just, hold her, right? Get her into a rhythm and let her go. My concern is if you go back to races 2, 3, and 4 back, I don't know how much you can fight her. And now
she wants to go going longer, right?
She wants to go. And so now you're going to stretch her back out where, if she wants to be part of the pace, she can be. That's the concern, I think. I wonder if down the road she might be more of a downhill horse, or we'll see. But there's other speed in here, and I think that works against her.
Jungle Peace is one of them. And I thought she ran pretty well in her first start going long. She had to stretch out from 6.5 to a mile and an eighth. She cleared, she has the lead in there. And you could just see she was even fighting late, but she ends up finishing a close third behind Frenzy Flavor and Me So Fancy. But I really like when a horse shows us, like, okay, that's their first time going long. They ran well, she fought. I think she can take a step forward off of that, especially cutting back. I'm just worried about the other speed in here.
I'm a little worried about the other speed, but I agree with what you said, right? She just went long for the first time. Now she's going to cut back an eighth of a mile, and she only missed by a head. So
Yep.
I think to me, she probably would be the one I would take out of the Honeymoon for those reasons alone. And, the other times that she's been sort of tested in the stretch and at sprint distances, she at least fights. So I can't knock her there. I love a horse that fights. She'll kind of give you a good effort. So Jungle Peace, maybe I won't use on the win spot of things, but a horse that I would use in the exotics. I'm very curious to see the price on her.
Ashley, I think she's going to be a horse that is tough to not use in some of your exotics, right? So if you're playing a pick 4 or a pick 5, and she's a horse who has a length lead turning for home, you're probably going to be a little bit nervous. I'm going to throw her in a couple of my exotics just because she is so quick on the cutback, second start going long. But she's a speed horse. Right next to her is a horse who's probably going to be on the opposite end of the spectrum. That's Firenze Flavor, who came from way out of it to win the Honeymoon. And her figures are, if you're looking at buyers, are a little bit light. But I will say visually, that really impressed me in that race, having to be wide all the way around and kind of move widest of all and wear them down. So if I am playing Exactas Tri Supers, I don't know if she's a win candidate. I certainly think the way she fought and the way she can pass horses, I would use her as an under horse in here. That's kind of what makes this race pretty tricky. There's really nobody when you're going through this entire field that you completely dismiss in here, right? From the top to the bottom. That's what makes it a little bit tricky in a very competitive race.
Yeah, a field of 9 and no one's like a 50 to 1 shot in here. That just doesn't
Yep.
happen. It's pretty competitive. I think Firenze Flavor, love her last 2 efforts. The confidence that she's had since that freshening. Now we have to see her off another little bit of freshening. Not a concern. Maybe she's just really started to mature now, kind of getting more into the 3-year-old season. And I like that last time out you mentioned she had to kind of work for it and had to overcome something where when you look at her prior efforts, she's had trouble. She had trouble on the debut. She had trouble 3 starts back where her running style is going to be typically what gets her in trouble because everyone else is in front of her. She has to work out a trip. She might have to angle wide, but no knocks on her. She's taken a little bit of a step forward in those last 2. Now she's going to cut back to a mile. And if the pace is hot, that helps her. If it's not, I am a little concerned about the distance.
Yeah, that's a great point because she does seem like that extra eighth of a mile helped her a little bit. And then she might be one that just wants a little more distance in here. You don't see Bob Baffert with 2 horses in a turf race all too often, but we have here with Silent Law. He also has Castaloo, who we talked about earlier. Silent Law is a stakes winner, grade 2 place, major speed on the outside, but trying turf for the first time. And I didn't see a whole lot direct, especially on the dam side with the turf pedigree here. Ashley, what do you think about Silent Law?
Well, if you look at the siblings, only one of them, I believe, has raced on grass and the other has synthetic. Now, the mare herself, I know she has experience at Presque Isle. That's where she graduated. It's tough to say, why you're doing this on the bottom side of the pedigree. On the top side, 'tis the law. That's where you're actually seeing some of the good numbers, right? Maybe shocking to some, but based on what his body of work was, but above average numbers. I just don't know how to assess this horse. The fact that this one shows early speed, draws the outside. I do like the outside draw, but if Castaloo, the stablemate, wants to go, I don't see them both going, especially with other
Agree.
speed in here. So that makes me wonder what the strategy will be. Maybe Castaloo does sit and maybe Silent Law does go from the outside. Obviously has come up, short in those last 3 efforts, either finishing second or third. So her body of work on the dirt isn't bad, but I don't know how to read her. She's just making her, 3rd start this year.
It's a fun renewal of the San Clemente. One of my favorite things about Del Mar is the series of races they have for the 3-year-olds on the turf, for the boys on opening day, and then for the fillies right here with the San Clemente. So Ashley, as we move to selections, I think we saw this race pretty similarly, right? We both put the One Will Then on top.
Yeah, 1, 5, and 7 come up somewhere in our top 4 here. I mean, Will Venn, I think, gets the perfect trip from the inside. Whether they want to sit off the pace or try to close from off of it, I do think Mike Smith, his internal clock will sort of tell him what to do and what sort of trip to give this filly. But love the most recent drill there. I don't think she's going to have any problems going back out to Del Mar where she already has a win.
And as you're handicapping the races this weekend, we have a new tool that we want you to check out, chat.drf.com. Check it out. It's an AI tool that will help you with your handicapping. Get involved with it, and you're going to find out more about that over the next few weeks here. So give it a look if you need some help when you're handicapping this weekend, chat.drf.com. Best of luck to you, Ashley. Ashley's going to play on 1574. For me, Will then 1587. Whoever you play, however you play them, we wish you the best of luck.